And we're live. How's it going, everybody? Got Lars, JB, first responder, Clint, Dougster, John Wilburn. Thanks for being here, you guys. That's better. Now we won't have that stupid echo. Rich GT350, welcome. Jeff, Two Hacks, welcome. How's everybody doing tonight? We're going to give everybody a couple minutes to get in here. And I've been thrashing on that sucker all day. Fuel system pressurized, oiling system pressurized. Got the timing about 18 degrees. It should light. Hope it shows up okay over there. I tried to run my camera over there, but it didn't like having 25 feet of extension cord on the USB. It kept being glitchy, so I set up a access point out here and got the phone as the rat. Howdy, Rob. Well, let's see if this thing fires up. Got my remote starter button here, so you can crank it over. All right. Well, that's what I call rowdy. Got a cool 60 pounds of oil pressure, 1100 RPM. I think we'll sit here and let her idle warm up. Let the car warm up and I'll go check on the comments. Can't hear nothing but that car. What do you guys think? Yeah, that's coming, Travis. I gotta do a little bit of brake work on it. Poured 5 gallons of gas in the thing today and started draining out on the floor. The line had ruptured from setting. So I got it kind of jerry-rigged back together for this live. I gotta get some more steel braid. Yeah, Clint, she's nasty. Of course, I got the second microphone right on the other side of it. I'm gonna crack a beer to that. No, Robert, that's a roller cam in there, so the roller cam and Molly rings, so it's really only got the rings have got a seat, but no, to answer your question, we don't have to do the whole 2,000 for 20 minutes thing because it's a roller. Hell yeah, Lars. Pounds of oil pressure, starting to warm up about 150 degrees. Take that, neighbors and your barking dog. Yeah, JB, once we get it out on the road, a couple of good hard hits and they'll seep right in. Yeah, Landon, I know you want that for your T-bird. Thought I heard a tick in it, but it's the exhaust rattling off the wall over there. Yep, there goes the blue paint. That's an FE for you. Got the cooling fan on. Warm air means the thermostat opens. That's good. Let's see here. Yeah, first responder, that damn dog barks around the clock. Worse than them roosters in your videos. Yeah, I've got some really good mics. I hope it sounds good. I'll have to go back and listen to this later, but I've got a second mic up on the pillar on the other side of the car. Getting rich in here. Woo! Look at the smoke. Not really smoke, just hazy. Yeah. I keep threatening to take my Harley over by the fence in the middle of the night when that damn thing starts going off and just start revving it. Thanks, Tim. Really appreciate that. Try and catch up on the comments here a little bit. All right. So that took off real good. So what's everybody else up to Friday night? Well, I think since it decided it wanted to run so well, I'll go ahead and start putting some scoopage back on it. This really sets this car off too. Nothing like a big scoop on top of a badass motor. Yeah, she warmed right up, turned on the cooling fan, settled down about 180 degrees. So that's what we like. This engine, before we took it apart, part of its issues was it liked to overheat. Cylinder walls aren't the thickest in the world in it, but I was kind of worried about them. It's actually responding real well. How about that? Doesn't that just set it right off? You taking off, Clint? Yep, JB, it's actually real cloudy. It's been thunderstorming all day, but it usually gets dark about 7:30, 7:45. Take care, Clint. Thanks. Tell the wife I said hi. Nice. All right. So anybody wants to jump in, come on. I'm going to go ahead and kick the rat out after a while. It's just taking up a spot here on StreamYard, but it ain't hurting nothing for now. You guys can look at it. Look at me work on it. It's kind of hard to work on it and watch the comments. Bird catcher for the win. Let's bolt that bird catcher down. This takes 8 screws on the bottom of it, holds it down to them plates. And that's all there is to it. It must have been made in China because the damn screws are metric. Go figure. Anyways, just saw me put them on slots and just put the screws in the bottom. Holds it in place. Tomorrow I'm going to repack the wheel bearings on the front of it, and this passenger side brake hangs up. I got to figure out why the heck it's doing that. And then we can take this sucker out and take it for a spin. I definitely want to be able to stop. Just by the sound of it, I got a feeling it's got a whole lot more power than it needs. Wait, did I say that out loud? There's no such thing. It's like a fishing expedition looking for them screw holes in the bottom of this thing. Well, there's 2. You got to find the other 6. Well, come on now. No, that header's hot. That's no fun. Yes, Sir Rat is one hell of a build. That is a cool rat rod. Like the one I did in the Charger a few months ago, JB, smoked that whole shop out. Yeah, first responder. It's like a girl too pretty or car too fast. Too much fun. There's no such thing. No, she didn't blow up. Yep, header's hot. Yeah, it did sound good. I'll get a timing light on it later. Probably going to have to mess with the curve and the distributor a little bit and get it where I want it. I've got the kit. Just got to get a light on it and see how it behaves. But it sure did light up nice. That was impressive. Helps when the carbs are full of fuel and you know where the timing's at and all that good stuff. Garage burnouts are fun, but we'd be sitting here looking at a smoke screen all night because this garage is only vented out the front. It would take a while for the smoke to clear. One of these days, I need to knock a hole in the back wall and put an exhaust fan in. It's got too much compression for that. Yeah, that engine works out to about 10.8 to 1. So guess I could O-ring it and put different head gaskets on it. Stick 5 or 6 pounds of boost to it. But them 8V92s, they make more than that. I actually used to drive a Kenworth with a 6V92T in it. Turbo and a blower. No, it's a vape. I'll bet you anything, JB. That's exactly what you got going on, is something with that servo. You smart ass. Yes, they were. Hey, Don, how's it going, buddy? Always the character there, Lars. Hey, Smoke Ranch, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for being here. See if I can get some more of these damn bolts in. These bird catchers are cool, but sometimes they're a pain in the butt to put on. There's one. Like I said, just got to go fishing. Well, it's got 3 bolts in it. That'll keep it from flying off. There's your proof, first responder. It's not a sound overlay. You watched me start it. Yes, they do. Hey, Jay, how's it going, buddy? Thanks for coming in. Yes, sir. True story. Yeah, parts cleaning that old stuff takes time. That's for darn sure. Looking for a manifold. What you looking for a manifold for there, Damien? Oh, yeah. Yes, they are. Anybody wants to jump in, the link's pinned to the top. Sit here and hang out and bullshit for a little while. Half dozen buzzing. Yes, sir. Buzzing half dozen.
You said,
Hey, how's it going?
I'm not here for
Well,
your car, okay? Just don't mind me. I'll just.
everybody's here for the car.
Yeah.
Why not? You know, it's been a long time coming. You know, I started building this engine last March. This project is actually what kicked off my YouTube channel.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, and it's between waiting on parts and machine shop purgatory and all that BS.
Now, last time
Took
I
a
saw it
while.
in the rack, so it's nice to see it in there.
Yeah.
She's gonna be
Yes, it is.
It's gonna be quite the beast. Did you drop it any, the frame any, or do any suspension mods to it yet?
I did not build the car. The car actually belongs to a friend of mine, and it's not even titled. He just bought it with a bill of sale.
Yeah.
He says that it's a 35 frame and a 39 body. But anybody that knows these old Ford trucks, you can pick that grill out. That's a 1937 only grill, or the lower 2/3 of one, anyways. So who knows what the heck it is, but yeah, it is substantially channeled down over the frame. And I'll raise the other camera up a little bit, and you can see some of the ratty stitch work that was done.
What? Hood? You're not gonna put a hood over that engine, are you?
What's that? I was over there. I couldn't hear you.
You're not gonna put a hood over that engine, are you? Can't hide that thing.
Don't know what he's going to do with it. That, like I said, that car belongs to a good friend of mine. They built the engine once, and if you watch the series on it, there was a lot wrong, a whole lot wrong. It did get left out in the rain, and it did take on a bunch of water, and he didn't realize it and tried to start it. But I don't believe that's why the cam went flat and flushed metal through the engine. And like I say, there's a whole series on the channel on it, right? You know, if you know FEs, you know about the hidden plug behind the distributor. Yeah. It was left out. So, you know, it had an oiling system handicap right from the get-go. Bearings were wiped out. Clearances were too tight. What wasn't wiped out is no surprise it was wiped out. There's just so much shit wrong with it. The wrong valves in the heads. I mean, somebody cut these Cobra Jet these Cobra Jet heads. These are actual 6090N Cobra Jet heads.
Yeah.
Somebody cut the freaking intakes and put seats in them, hard seats in them, and put smaller valves than what was supposed to be in the damn things. Why would you do that? A stinking set of heads, of course, are worth $2,000. So, you know, we did all that and put it all back to the way it's supposed to be.
Nice.
It's a Howard's Rattler roller cam in it. All Likens Motorsports rocker gear and Hyper-Eutectic 8. It worked out to 10.8 to 1 compression, 428/30 over pistons in it.
Nice.
Cat crank, all balanced. It's got I put an SFI flex plate in it just because that's what was available, and it was $100. And the other one somebody hacked the shit out of. Let's not use this. That car would probably never pass tech at a drag strip, SFI flex plate or not.
Yeah.
But it'd be fun in a burnout pit.
No.
That's one thing that car would do well is burnouts. He's got a set of them bolt-on traction bars under the back end of it, but I'll bet you, I've never driven the car. I will here soon, but I'll bet you traction is not a luxury that car has.
Nope. Well, just the weight on the engine is enough to keep her in place. Well, the back tires
Right. And being a pickup, it's got a 9-inch under and it does. I'm not sure if it's a spool or a good sure grip, but it definitely is not an open diff. But them tires are all dry rotted, so they'll get some good burnouts before they get replaced. Oh yeah, Robert. Did you see them push rods?
Show and tell time. Oh, those are straight as an arrow.
Yeah.
Could have just thrown those right back in.
Yeah. This was the only one that was bent like that. That was the number 1 intake push rod.
Nope. The nastiest engine I've ever.
When you don't figure out your valve train geometry and stuff, a big old cam and something.
No, I used to see stuff like that on old diesels. Like the worst one was an old 6.5. Some guy rebuilt it, and for a thread locker, he decided to use Teflon tape on everything, and the whole entire engine rumbled itself. They had it at the shop, and they're like, "Oh, well, maybe it's the pump, maybe it's this." They're throwing money at it. I go and take the valve cover off. I'm like, all the rods are down in the bottom. Every single push rod is down at the bottom, and there's a couple that are bent, jammed in there. The bolt, like every bolt was just held in with Teflon tape and not torqued down.
I'm surprised the thing ran at all, ever.
Yeah.
Those, you're talking about the old 6.5 Chevy diesel, right?
Well, the 6.2 diesels and 6.5s, yeah.
Yeah. My father-in-law had a 94, I think it was, when he was alive with a 6.5 in it. That was actually a good pickup.
I still drive mine today.
When he passed away, it went to Florida. My brother-in-law ended up with it, and it quit running, and they couldn't figure it out and ended up getting rid of it. And I kind of hated to see that happen because I could have fixed the thing, but yeah, it was a good truck.
No, I still have mine on the road. Only upgrade I did is I put a LB7 Duramax water pump on it.
Oh, nice.
Keep her a little cooler.
Yeah. Try and catch up with some of the comments here. Still daylight where you're at, too. Where are you at?
I'm West Coast, Canada, British Columbia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you're up north. That's why you still got daylight.
Yeah. It will start disappearing in another 4 hours.
Damn tiller whipped JB's butt. Supposed to let it whip Lars's butt.
Yeah, we used to get 1 inch or 1.5 inch plate aluminum and cut our own adapters for putting the old Detroit blowers on the engines.
Yeah.
Now that way you can put your flappers in there and make sure everything's snug.
Right.
Now with the day of water jets and CNC being readily available, it's so easy to make adapters for anything now.
Ain't that the truth?
Like if we had the stuff available nowadays, back when I was young, God, the trouble we would have gotten into.
Did you get in here in time to hear it run, Bear Rose? So it wouldn't break my heart to fire it up again for you.
I'm shocked Bear Rose hasn't jumped in yet.
I know. He should jump in.
Come on. Get your butt in here. No. He's got some pretty good projects too going.
Yes, he does.
It makes me look at all the junk in our yard going, I wonder if I can make something out of it.
Damien, I'm working real hard on the owner, trying to convince him I want to bring that rat to No Name with my truck. But we'll see. It's up to him. Like I say, it's not my car.
I always be turning left. Never know if there is any bends. If there's any bends in that thing, never know. Maybe firing up, giving her a good burnout might straighten some stuff out.
I know, right?
Flex it all right back into shape.
Bet you do. Yep.
No.
Hey, 6%. How's it going?
That was the one that sad thing about the Chevy diesels. They were never built to be modified for performance. They're made to just be left alone for the fuel mileage. You pull anything up any hill at 60 miles an hour, but never any faster. So,
well, the first ones were hardly even built to be diesels. Remember the Oldsmobile diesel?
Oh, that wasn't even in Detroit. That was just that was an Oldsmobile experiment. See, back in the good old days, they used to have these big monsters V6 blocks that you could order either diesel or gas. They were capable of running both. And what they did is they decided to try to recreate that in a smaller format for their cars, and that failed horribly. They just took a Chevy 350 block, modified some heads, slapped it together, and called it a diesel. Those things were horrible.
Horrible.
The injection system was shoddy. Everything about them was just, and they leaked oil like no tomorrow.
Yeah, I worked on a few of them back in the day, unfortunately.
My father had one in his old Chevy service truck, and it was like every day that he'd have to go up the one hill out in Slave Lake, he'd be cursing that friggin' engine all day long. And then they came out with it. They came out with the 6.2. He's like, I don't know. 6.5 came out, and that's when he upgraded. But he kept that turd going for as long as he could.
6.2 is actually an okay engine if, like you said, you leave it alone. You start trying to do performance modifications to them, and they say no.
Well, so that's the thing is Gail Banks was asked to try to do mods for it, and Gail Banks said it's not made for modification. It's not engineered for that. It's engineered. It's a utilitarian engine. It's a point A to B, good fuel mileage, and that was how Chevy's platform was until the Duramax. Like the 6.5 wasn't a performance engine. They just threw they just threw a turbo on it to beat the snot out of Ford and Dodge for a couple of years till Ford and Dodge up their step, and Ford and Dodge had to totally re-engineer their engines.
Yes,
like Dodge had to modify their cam and their compression ratio so that way they get up to the 325 horsepower and
in 04 I remember the 04 the HO engine, and that thing actually was a terrible design.
But that's the thing for quite a while there. Chevy had literally the most low end torque and most horsepower on an engine. The only thing it wasn't a fast engine, but it pulled anything up any hill at 60 miles an hour.
Sure. Well, at the end of the day, that's really all you got to do.
Yeah.
But once you get to the top of the hill, you go down the bottom, you go to the racetrack, and with whatever it is that you pulled up that hill at 60 miles an hour, then you go fast.
And then with the LB7, that's when they realized that the 6.5 literally met its peak. It's like, no, we've got to re-engineer this thing because it's not going to do it. Because AMC, they kept the 6.5 going for 10 years after, and they got that thing. They got that thing up to 360 horsepower, like basically making a stock engine replacement engine for the Hummers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was just say that 6.5 powered a lot of military Humvees.
Yeah. And
to this day, it does.
Yeah. And that's the thing is AMC.
A lot of people don't know that. To this day, that 6.5, you can still buy it brand new for one of them military Humvees.
Yeah. That's the thing is AMC's still making them. AMC
Right.
still makes them over in Germany and that still, but that's the thing is they took the 6.5 block, they modified it, put the heads, and the LB7 came out, the Duramax. That's why the water pump and a lot of parts are interchangeable between the two. And they turned around and said, no, we've reached the max. We've got to re-engineer. So, and that's why the LB7 failed horribly, because they were trying to push way too much power out of something that was not, like, the block could handle it, the crank couldn't handle it, and that just had way too many issues. So they end up now, and they on their third try they got it right. So took them 3 tries, but they got it right, and now they're keeping it going. But that's a sad thing is for vehicles, everyone's so based on this horsepower number and torque number. That's why everything fails so fast. Putting too much power through stuff that's not engineered to handle that kind of grr. Like if you want a muscle car, buy a car and modify it, build a muscle car. But factories don't need to build cars that do 300 horsepower stock out of the factory, because we'll never get to use it really.
There he is.
Speak of the devil.
Whoa, where's
Hey, mister. Did you get to hear it run?
Nah, I missed it.
You missed it?
I'll catch it on the rewatch.
Break my heart to start it again. Hang on.
You broke the curse, huh? Every time I try to do it live. Anticipation.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's got to be eating them alive, not being able to drive the damn thing. Start it, but I can't go nowhere. Not fair.
I know, right?
God.
Why won't the thing idle down? Well, the cab is so small because it's been channeled. My foot and paying attention. My fat foot was just on the throttle. She's got a rowdy idle though, doesn't it?
Still got that FE sound though.
Oh yeah. Well, see, and I did that on purpose. There's a second mic on the other side of the car. I did that in stereo on purpose because it's an FE, and you and I both know that you wouldn't necessarily pick it up if it weren't for that second mic being dual exhaust. Yeah, they definitely have their own sound.
No.
I think Dougster's in lust with that car. He's been waiting all day. What's that?
What is the cab?
What's the cab?
Yeah.
Supposedly it's a 39 on a 35 frame. But that's a 37 grill.
Yeah.
Or what's left of it. And that you and I both know that 37 grill is a 1-year grill.
It looks like 37, 38 Mercury headlights.
Yeah.
Those are the exact same ones on Sir Rat.
Right. Yeah. So the car doesn't even have a title on it yet. My friend that owns it, he just got a handwritten bill of sale. So he'll have to get an assigned title for it when he titles it.
Is that kind of tough there in Arizona, or is it pretty easy?
No, not really.
Cool.
In fact, my Astro van, There's a long story behind that. I bought the van through an ex-friend that ended up screwing me for well north of about 20 grand, but that's a whole nother story. But anyways, they never produced the damn title. So I just got a bonded title on the thing. And the only drawback is I can't sell the van for 3 years.
Yeah.
But so what? I didn't buy it to sell it. I bought it to use it. It's a 2003 Astro, what the heck's the word I'm looking for? Cargo van. You know?
So no windows.
Yeah. No, they had no windows. Well, it actually does have a side window in the sliding door.
Oh, it doesn't?
Yeah, there's a sliding door. But I did find out the title was a salvage title on it, which I don't care. Paid $800 for the stupid van. Put a catalytic converter on it. And I actually didn't finish paying the clown for it anyways because I gave him $600 and he never produced the title. So I told him to take his other $200 and shove it up his ass.
Yeah.
Just got a bonded title and cost me, I had to put a bond. The bond cost me, what the heck was it? I think it was $95. And I just got that through my insurance company. And went to the DMV and paid the registration fees on it. I think it was like $60 at the DMV to get the title and 5 years worth of tags on the thing.
Are those chassis?
What's that?
That year of Astro, was it chassis?
It is. It is.
It's basically a
C10 or a 1500
S10,
chassis.
Yeah. Two-wheel or four-wheel drive?
It's two-wheel.
Two-wheel, woo, yeah.
It's a two-wheel. I'm kicking the idea around and putting an L31 in it. You know, the 350s with remember the what was it, 96 to 99, the Spider injected 350s. But you shit can the Spider and you can use the same electronics to run a ramjet.
Yeah.
I've done it and it works well. Dougster, blah, blah, blah.
That's one thing you don't see much anymore. People modding out vans anymore. There used to be all the craze in the 70s and the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Nick the Van Man does a really good job with vans.
Yeah, it does.
I've done quite a channel.
I've done quite a few 4x4 conversions. I've gotten so good at it that I can almost do it in my sleep nowadays.
Right.
I actually like the four-wheel drive ones, but you pull the front diff out because it'll come right out, and you take that all out and get it out of the way and convert it to a two-wheel drive.
Oh, and you leave the more robust stance.
Well, on the four-wheel drives, the A-arms are parallel. On the two-wheel drives, they do that weird S10 that makes it hard to get headers in there with the V8. And the four-wheel drives are actually a little bit wider track width.
Yeah.
Makes them fit right under an early 50s car.
Hey, Steve, how's it going, buddy? I bet you he missed hearing the rat rod run, too.
That's what I'm going to do with that 40 Pontiac of mine. The one that's in my logo.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with it?
I've got a 86 four-wheel drive S10.
Oh, nice.
But I'm doing that. I'm dropping the diff out of it, and I'm going to set that 40 Pontiac.
You're going to put that Pontiac body on the nice.
Torsion front end, you know.
You know, that's the way to do it. You get all the nice handling and the drivability and everything with a classic look.
Yeah.
Especially on a Pontiac. Try to find rims for that.
Right?
5-on-5 bolt pattern.
Yeah.
And they're only about that wide rims. What are they, 4.5-inch rims? Yeah.
Well, they're ready for skinnies. Then you got to do something about the back.
No. No. But I'm gonna hop off here because I made a promise to someone else to be on at their stream tonight. But it was awesome seeing you again. Glad to see the engines in the car. Sounds great.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Great
I'll
seeing
see
you.
you again. I'm gonna watch those videos, the story of the engine. I'm gonna definitely watch those. So
Yeah, if you go to my channel, I've got a whole playlist. It's called Rat Rod Revival, and everything about this car that's been documented is in that playlist. So
awesome.
That's
I'll
how I found you.
watch it. So
right.
You guys have a great night and keep that car coming. That like it sounds great. So I can't wait to see what your next project's gonna be. So
It's good seeing you, Sire.
yep.
There's the next one.
Ah. No.
That's actually the one I'm bringing to No Name. That's going in my 78 Dodge truck. That's my No Name car.
Well, you guys have a great night.
You too. Take care.
Ten years ago, I built a 51 Chevy truck. Rat rod, I put a Cadillac 425 TH400 in it. Sweet. Those 51, we just call them Series 1s.
Yeah.
They are so simple. But if you want to learn how to chop one, that's the one to work with. If you can chop one of them, you can chop any of them.
Hey, cousin Mike's in here. Welcome, welcome. He was in here earlier, actually. He beat you.
Oh,
here.
was he?
Yeah, he was. He was here in the very beginning. He might have took off for a minute, but he was here.
I was in having supper.
Yeah, I like those early 50s. Well, what is it? 48 to 52, I think, isn't it?
47.
47 to 52.
No, actually, clear to 55. That's why they call them a Series 1, because they ran at the same time.
Did they run that all the way to 55? Yeah, I like that body style of those Chevys.
I think it's because they weren't sure if that wraparound windshield was going to kick it and, catch on.
Right. Well, several years ago for a customer, I built a 63 C10, which was the last year for the wraparound windshield, 63. That turned out to be a cool truck. We put a 410 stroker small block in it that I built. I built a 700 R4 behind it. So I know damn well JB can get that 700 to hold up behind his blown V6.
The 55 with the solid window, yep. And they had a little bit different grill. They're actually kind of, you got to know that series of truck to figure out what year it is.
Right.
They didn't change a whole lot of nothing.
Just my 2 cents, Stephen. There's no way in hell I'd trade that Coronet for a Chevelle. In John's live earlier, he mentioned somebody was trying to trade him a 70 Chevelle, which is a cool car in its own right. But I would trade a 70 Coronet for it.
I'd have to say when it go by condition.
Well, you just don't like Mopars.
I like the Mopar as long as it ain't got that K-frame.
Right.
That just limits you. So
it does make some things hard to work on. Truth, I like them all.
Yeah.
American Iron, I like every last bit of it. I actually knew a guy years ago, and I worked on the thing. It was a 91 Isuzu pickup that he back halved and put on bags. It was one of the mini truck show truck deals. The thing had an LT1 in it. And he brought it to me because he couldn't get it running right. It was running like warmed over crap. Well, come to find out, it had 6 plugged fuel injectors in it. No wonder it ran like shit. I put a set of injectors in the thing, and you could not drive. It didn't have the bed on it yet at that time. You could not drive that truck. I don't care how light you were on the throttle. You just could not drive that stupid truck. That thing would hit second gear and tear the tires loose. You completely let off the throttle, ease into it, it would hit third gear and tear the tires loose. It was just way too much power for that stupid thing. But it was cool. It really was cool. Yes, I agree.
These correction bells like they were disposable.
Well, look at the producers of the Dukes of Hazzard. They wrecked 69 Chargers like they're 68 Chargers like they were disposable.
The movie Christine. I mean, the car everybody wants. They actually destroyed a bunch of them. They made that a rare, an even more rare car.
I know it. To this day, I would trade everything I've got for a 58 Fury. I love them freaking cars.
It used to make me laugh. People would say, no, it's 57. In the movie, it says 57. Well, yeah, of course, it was made in 57. That's when they made the 58.
Right. Actually, I have the book, and the car on the back cover of the book, Stephen King is leaning up against it, and it is a 57.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, the book
if you ever get,
and the book was a 4-door.
Well, yeah, well,
in the movie, it's a 2-door.
Right. If you read the book, it is a 58 Fury. The book is about a 58 Fury.
Oh.
But the picture on the back of the book, on the back cover, was Stephen King. It's a 57.
He couldn't even find one.
Yeah. The picture of the car in the picture is a 57. It's he's leaning on the left front fender of it, so it's him in the front grill. I mean, it's a total dead giveaway. The headlights give it away. The 57 had singles, and the 58 had duals.
There's a bit of Stephen King and car trivia for you. Christine was actually taken from a short story he did prior to that. What?
I did not know that.
What vehicle was that one actually about? And it's where Christine came from.
Go get some rest, JB. I don't know.
It's in the book Skeleton Crew. It's just a collection of short stories that he published way early that he put together in a book. See if anybody in the comments can get it. I'll give you a hint. It's about a truck. And it's one of my favorite trucks.
I knew John would have those answers. Yeah, isn't that just disgusting? People are still destroying them today to tribute. Well, look what they did in the original Fast and Furious to that 70.
Close, Robert. Really close. I'll give you another hint. There was a band in the 80s that named themselves after it. That should be an easy one.
Band in the 80s. You got
and
me
there's still
thinking
corn. It was an REO. It's about a haunted truck that kills people.
That is true, Dougster. It is the one and only 350 dual quad Golden Commando.
Yeah, REO Speedwagon.
Yep.
It's a real cool
See,
story.
if in the book Christine had it said a 318, which in 58 would have been a poly. It didn't say a poly, but if you know your Mopars, a 318 and 58 was a poly.
But the Sport Fury had dual carbs.
Well, sure. I'm talking about the book as written.
Yeah.
.361's a good little engine. There's one over there being a mock-up piece for my run stand right now. Short block.
I think if they would have followed through with the poly, that really would have been something.
What was the engine? Here's a piece of trivia. What was the engine that never made it that should have? The Chrysler engine.
The Chrysler one?
Early 70s.
I'm sure everybody's going to say the ball stud.
That's the answer. That's the one that come to my head. Yeah. The ball stud Hemi. They perfected the Hemi. Mr. Wilburn, he knew. I think John's talked about the ball stud on your lives before, haven't you, John?
It came out at the wrong time.
Yep.
I mean, that's what happened to the 460. The 460 is a great engine, but it came out at the wrong time and they neutered it.
Dougster knows. Yeah, it did. It was too big of an engine for that time. That time wasn't that much different than what we're in now.
Yeah, I compare these days.
Stupid high gas prices and shortages and same kind of crap.
It's like 1973 all over again. We jumped back 50 years.
Yeah, I completely agree with that statement.
Yeah.
The engine that they should have kept was the poly.
Or just at least do something with it.
Yeah.
I mean, here you got an engine this wide. I mean, they're huge. And then they put that little teeny tiny little, you can wrap your fingers around it, little 2-barrel carburetor on it.
Well, even the LA 318s were the same way with the BBD.
Exactly.
You know, the BBD carburetor in its own right's a great carburetor. The thing only flows like 390 CFM or something like that, though.
What company did REO become later in life?
Sure could have been.
I know that one. It's actually in the name. It's in the abbreviation there. But it'll hold you for ransom.
Yeah, I'd like to get my hands on a poly and see what I could do with it. That would be a fun build.
I've almost convinced myself to go grab another one.
I thought you had
one.
Don't you
I did.
have one?
I had to sell it.
Oh,
It was a 63 440. The car 440.
Yeah, 4.4, the 318 poly in it.
318 poly in it.
Those were cool cars.
That car sat in a little bitty little Model T shed, garage, detached garage, for years and years. The garage just kind of fell in on top of it. And when O'Reilly's bought the property, they tore everything down, and that car they basically gave it away. And a friend of mine got it, and I traded him a frame structure for it. The old cable drive, antique 1950s frame straightener for it.
Oh, wow. Need to go grab me another cold snack. Yeah, we'll put the rat to bed too.
REO broke off into several other ventures over the decades. Diamond T, White, yeah. It's a division of Ransom Molds. That's what REO stands for. So it was Oldsmobile. And for a little while, they made cars too, but the car division didn't last for very long. That broke off and became Oldsmobile. Kind of like Mack trucks. Mack tried to make pickups there for a while, but they never took off.
Yeah.
There's a Diamond T sitting in our favorite junkyard out there.
Oh, really?
One of these days it might come home. It's pretty
That's
complete.
cool.
It's about I don't know what year it is, probably 36, 37.
That would make a cool rat. I've always wanted to do a big truck rat rod, out of a Class 8. There's a really cool Peterbilt. I forget what year it is. It's out of the 50s, but it's got a buzzing dozen on it. Every once in a while, it'll crop up on YouTube. All rat rotted out. I think this car turned out really good. That engine gives it all of its character. I mean, you remember before the engine wasn't painted and it went to rust, it went to that rust color. And I don't know, just looking at it, I like it better with color on it. Because that's what gives those cars their character.
Yeah,
is the
it's
engine.
all about the engine.
It's all about the engine. And that's why I chose the camshaft that I did. It's not particularly a powerful cam, but it's got that rowdiness to it. And it will actually drive nicely. Truth be told, it's probably way too much torque converter. I think it's like a 3800 stall torque converter. Stupid thing's like a little 8-inch. It's way too much converter for it, but not my choice. That's actually a torque.
What tranny is it?
It's a C6.
C6.
Yeah. A well-known local guy built it. I kind of got after him for that. I should have built it, but I wasn't around. I was
Grab
the
you
other
some
side of the
sticks and
state.
go for it.
What's that?
Grab you some sticks and go for it.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun. Of all the cars that me, my dad, have I ever done, the rats are just, they're liberating. That's the
I
easiest
absolutely
way
love them.
I can say it.
I absolutely love them. But anymore, even a rat rod is not cheap.
Oh no, there's nothing cheap about any of this stuff. I mean, we sat down and we figured it out. We got, even doing all the work ourselves, we got a good chunk of change in Sir Rat and both that one and the Doodle Bug.
Yeah. Anymore, everything's expensive.
I mean,
Thanks, John.
We've got folders like this of every receipt.
John, I bought that car when I was 12 years old. Going on 34 years, I've owned that son of a gun. Paid $200 for it.
Wow. Of course, back then they were just a car.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot more of them around then. I wish I had the means then that I have now. Now the parts I need for it are unobtainium. I bought it from the original owner. There's a Mexican guy in California who bought it brand new, and he drove the car back and forth to Mexico until it wouldn't run anymore. About 10 years ago on a move, I lost it. But I had the original factory inspection marked oil filter off of the engine.
How long did he have that?
Well, he
still
bought
had
it
the factory marked oil
it had
filter.
The factory markings on the oil filter, and yeah. It had 83,000 on the clock, probably 183,000. The only reason it wouldn't run was it had a piece of crap stuck in the needle seat on the BBD carburetor that was on it. 318 with a 2-barrel BBD carburetor on it. Take the needle seat out and clean it out, and it ran. I primed it and it fired. And that's how, I was a dumb kid. I bought the thing, and drug it home, and I'd figured out the carburetor, and I had the thing running, and then the oil light starts flickering. Like, oh shit. Dug a little deeper, and that's when I found the oil filter and kept it all them years as a souvenir. But I ended up pulling the engine out and putting a bottom end in it. Put a crank kit and bearings in it, and honed it and put some rings in it. And my best friend's grandfather had a machine shop, and he did the heads for me.
Does it still got?
And some years later, what's that?
Does it still got the 318 in it?
It's still got the 318 in it. I've done some more to it, or I did. Years ago, I did more to it. It's got 202 intakes, 160 exhaust valves in it. The heads I bought off a guy. They were actually I bought them with a blower manifold. I wish I still had that damn blower manifold. But, I was, 18, 19 years old, something like that at the time. Hell, I didn't have money to buy a blower, so I sold the manifold and used the heads. But it's got a somewhat mild cam in it. It puts out about 375 horse-ish. Headers, dual exhaust, Holly 4-barrel. That Holly 4-barrel that I rebuilt on the channel a few months back, that was actually a factory replacement for a 440 that my dad had in his 74 Monaco.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was, the car was, the 74 Monaco, the 440 was a CHP, California Highway Patrol car. that he bought from the CHP when they retired at 76, year before I was born. And when I was 10 years old, he wrecked that car. To this day, it hurts talking about it. That is another car that, you know, if I could have the proverbial bucket list of cars, I would love to find a 74 Monaco and kind of build a tribute car to my dad.
Yeah.
He's been gone for a long time now. He died when I was 21. But no thanks to the Blues Brothers, those cars are extremely popular amongst, you know, the people that want them. And when you do find one, everybody thinks you want to build a blues mobile and they want a big pile of money for the damn thing. Not to take anything away from the Blues Brothers, but that's not why I want the car, and it just hurts my cause.
Yeah, for me, it's a 55 Bel Air hardtop.
Yeah.
That's
a cool car, too.
Don't get me wrong, they're out there. There's plenty of them out there. But yeah, they're all way out of my price range.
No, exactly. You know, same thing with the Monacos and the 58 Furies. I mean, if you really wanted the car and had bottomless pockets, yeah, you could get one. There's one out there. Hell, you could go buy the Christine car. It's out there.
Yeah. It just came up on auction.
Those bottomless pockets.
What was it, 2-3 years ago? They auctioned the original, the actual off.
Yeah.
I ain't got that kind of money.
Hey, Junkyard D. He's got a cool channel.
Yeah, he does.
Nice.
Martin Dragway. Sweet.
That is cool.
Yeah, so the closest thing I can come to a tribute car from my dad is going to be a Ford. And he's a diehard Chevy man.
Oh, that's funny. My wife is a diehard Chevy girl. That one live that I think, I can't remember if it was your live. I think it was, I came into your live after Buck's live and we were talking about favorites and my order of favorites and everything.
Uh-huh.
And she chewed my ass. What do you mean Chevy not? What do you mean Chevy's last? That shit was funny. I got a bone to pick with you.
I got on my bow tie.
She's just giving me crap, you know, because she does. That is her favorite. Chevy is, you know, Chevys are her favorite. Her dad was a Chevy guy, you know.
Yeah, Dad tells it to me every time he comes over. Why are you messing with this old Ford? You got to get a Chevy in here. Why are you messing with that Mopar? Oh, man, and he hates Mopar. Oof.
Does he?
Oh, that is like the ultimate sin. Even though he's owned a few of them. That's probably the reason he doesn't like them.
I've predominantly owned Mopars my entire life. I've had some Chevys and I've had a couple of Fords, but I have been predominantly Mopar. You know, like I said, you know, my dad's Christine, if you want to call it that, was that 74 Monaco. That thing was his pride and joy. It was a cool car. And that car is what instilled the love of Mopar in me. I mean, to this day, I can remember being that scrawny little bastard in the front seat praying for yellow lights as the old man hit the gas.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. And you know how them thermal quads were. Whoa!
Yeah,
Flushing a toilet, and that
just
was
like
the
a
police
QJ.
issue.
Hey, they're almost identical to a quadrojet. They just got enough fuel to fuel them.
Right. The biggest difference is, they actually hold enough fuel. And that's the only real drawback to the quadrojet is this bowl simply isn't big enough.
Little teeny tiny little float bowl and two great
Yeah.
big secondaries.
Put an auxiliary float bowl on the thing, you'd have a good carburetor. But for regular driving, it's a great carburetor. It's useless on the racetrack. Well, I shouldn't say that either. On a reasonably mild or smaller displacement engine, they are even good on the racetrack.
Perfect. Yeah.
But you start getting into the real big stuff, and you just can't feed them fuel fast enough.
And they're only good if you leave them alone.
Right.
Rebuild it, put it all back stock, put it on there and run it. If you want more, pull it off and put a Holly or a Edelbrock or whatever fits your fancy.
Right.
Right.
That's where people screw them up, is they start screwing with them.
Oh, drill the jets out. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you do that with a quadrojet, you can't put them back.
Yep. Now it's garbage. Oh, and then
thermal bog. Yeah, but if you set them up right, if you put the time in, they don't bog. But man, out of the box, they sure did. The biggest thing with getting rid of the bog on the thermal quad is kind of the same thing as dealing with an ABS, is that secondary air door. The spring tension on it makes all the difference in the world. Most of the time they flap open too fast. And that's where you get the bog. Too much air, not enough fuel for a second.
I'm sure impressed with these new Edelbrock ABS2s. Wow.
I actually haven't got to screw with one yet, but boy, back in the day, I screwed with a lot of actual Carter ABSs.
Yeah.
Those were...
Yeah, like you're saying. I was expecting it.
Yeah, they were factory issue on 90% of your late 60s, very early 70s Mopars.
Yeah.
And then the thermal quad came out in 71.
I remember taking a lot of thermal quads off and putting ABSs on.
ABS is back on them, yeah.
Because the poly plastic,
the phenolic bowl, yeah,
would warp on them.
Yep.
Oh, and trying to rebuild them. Oh, especially after they've nastified for a long time. You're in there with a razor blade, careful scraping the gasket and the.
Oh yeah. Because the thing is, you'll nick that stupid phenolic if you're not careful.
And
Robert, no, Edelbrock did clone the 4150 Holly, but that's not the ABS2 that we're talking about. That's a different carburetor. That's a clone to a remake of the early Carter ABS. Yep. ASO, that's exactly what we were just talking about. If you find one, it's probably been screwed with.
That's the hardest thing with the quadrojet, is finding one that nobody has messed with.
Yep.
What you do, though, if you're looking for big block ones, you go and you look at Class A motorhomes.
Yeah.
The ones that look like a bus. If it's hard to get to that motor, nobody's messed with it.
Exactly. The ones that got the doghouse on them,
yep,
they've messed with them because it's right there.
If the carburetor's behind the driver's seat, it's perfect.
Yeah. Or a van.
The old snub noses, you betcha.
Yeah.
People didn't even want to change oil filters in those.
I know it.
And I don't blame them. My best friend bought one, a 62 Chevy. not Econoline, handy. It was a GMC handyman van, the old snub nose, and it had a 4-cylinder in it. We pulled that out and stuck a 250 straight six in it. Oh Lord, we didn't even have driver's licenses yet. We were building it for when we got our driver's license. And we dropped that 250 down in there. Oh, how neither one of us lost a leg or a finger or something, I don't know. Because there's no way to get a cherry picker in there. And we were only, 11 years old? Around here, you can get your driver's license at 12.
Yeah, I had to wait till I was 16 to get mine, but
it was a restricted one. You could only drive during the day.
Right.
Oh yeah, yep, shag carpet. You betcha. A guy, a couple of houses down, was remodeling his house, and he had gold, heavy shag carpet that he pulled out of his house from the 70s. Yeah, we put that in there. It was wall to wall.
Shaggin' wagon.
You betcha. Had a little mini. Well, it wasn't. We found an old ice box out of an old, 50s, early 60s camp trailer. It looked like one of those old vintage refrigerators, but it was an ice box.
Right.
Had that in it. Had the secret compartments on the doors. And I'll tell you, without a doubt, that you can fit 24 beers in every door.
I used to have a sticker that said that.
Had a little flap.
Hey, Frank,
lift up
how's it
the
going?
carpet on the doors and just yep.
I think the
Pull it
sticker
into the
said, "Don't
drive-in
laugh, mister. Your daughter
sideways.
might be in here."
Boy, we had a lot of fun in that van.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my dad had a 1970 Coronet wagon with a 383 big block in it. That was a cool car. He ended up spinning a bearing in it and never ran again. And that was actually supposed to be my first car, but then he sold the thing to a junkyard and I never got to fix it. It'd be cool to have that sucker today. I like wagons. They're fun. They're cool. Nice.
There you go. Had Krager wheels on it. Oh yeah. It's kind of funny looking, but scariest thing he'd do though is he'd come up to the train crossing when the train's going by, just whiz them by in that snub nose van. I mean, you're right there, and he'd creep up right up to the train. Oh man, just freak you right out, and it's rocking the van as the wind is going by it because it had the aerodynamics of a cardboard box.
Right. That's funny.
doing the old J turns in it, or what do people call them? Rockfords?
Yeah, the J turn. If you're talking about when you skid backwards.
stick it in reverse and
Yeah.
stomp it to the floor and then crank the wheel.
Yep. J turn. Somebody did a
That was spooky in that
challenge.
van.
Somebody did a J turn challenge not too long ago. I forget who that
Yeah.
was now. Remember that?
Yeah.
Somebody in our group. Do that in that rat rod.
I don't think you'd do it.
Probably
Those things
not.
just plant.
Yeah, well, it's got all that weight. The Rockford, yep.
I know both of ours, they're actually hard to do a burnout. They hook.
Really?
Yeah. Once you get them rolled, broke loose and spinning, yeah. But they're a little tough to get to break loose. They just skid the front tires.
Oh, yeah. Well, this thing's got that big heavy FE in the front of it, so maybe. And that thing, if I had to guess, once it's all dialed in and tuned right, it should make all of 4 1/4 pretty easy. It's definitely not the
51
not
of ours
greatest.
is 36. The Volkswagen is 2,700.
Oh, wow.
The Volkswagen we hit perfect. When you pull the front end up on the scales and then you pull the rear end on the scales,
Right.
we hit it right dead even. The dually, it's about 100 pounds more on the back.
Is it?
Yeah. But I'm sure that's just tire weight. Those tires are heavy.
Yeah.
That rear end is heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. The wheels and tires they're just, yeah. Because you got steel wheels on it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're the Ford ones too that don't have the centerings in them.
Right.
Oh, it's a pain in the butt. I hate taking the tires off that thing. Because the lug nuts don't have the convex in them to center the wheel when it goes in.
Right.
So you got to hold it up there, kind of center in there, and then you run the lug nuts down on it, and then you drive it around the block and you torque it, and you drive it around the block a couple of times and you torque them again, and that's what centers them. Hate that design.
That is true. But actually being a well-balanced car like that makes it drivable.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
When you got all the weight in the front and no weight in the rear, and I bet anything that's how this is, just because of the way it's put together. You
Spin them for
can't
days.
Yeah. Well, then you got to be careful. That's how you break shit. That's how you hurt engines. I think he's going to be a little more careful with it this time, though. There's a lot of freaking money in this sucker.
A friend of mine sold his Dirty 30. It was a 30 Ford. He had a big block Chevy in it, blown. Nice little. It was chopped down. Windshield was only about that tall on it.
This
little
one ain't quite
bitty thing.
I think this one, that windshield's probably 8 inches tall, maybe. Very tall.
Of course, but Daryl, he's a little guy. He's about like Jeff. 2X Jeff, little bitty guy. So But he sold it. We took it to the car show, the swap meet here in town, and a guy, he just had to have that car. Daryl, yeah, okay.
Hey,
Daryl gave
Mater.
the not for sale price, and the guy said, okay, so he had to sell it. But anyway, like 2 weeks later, no, it wasn't even 2 weeks later, that car was wrapped around a overpass.
Oh, that
In
sucks.
Buckman. He went to come around a guy to pass somebody, and he got on it, and the ass end broke loose and came around on him. Guy didn't know superchargers, you know.
Right.
So when that ass end come around, he panicked.
Yeah, it's real easy to let a supercharger get away from you.
Oh yeah. Look at all those Hellcats and Mustangs.
Oh, I know it.
Yeah, let's take 700 horsepower and try to put it on the street. Yeah.
Well, the problem
On
is
slick asphalt.
They take that 700 horsepower and they package it in a car like that, and they sell it to every idiot that has the money to buy it. You know, you need to have a brain to drive a car like that. You should have some sort of training to drive a car like that.
Yeah.
And people get them and they get stupid with them. And that's how people get hurt.
.300 horsepower is actually pretty good for the street. If you can handle 300, then start working your way up.
Right. I remember when I built that Black Betty truck for that guy, that 63 C10. He was hell bent on having that sucker on airbags. So I did a 4-link in the rear, I built 4-link for the rear, and custom tubular control arms for the front, and put it on dual bellows airbags, put a compressor and the switches and all the solenoids and crap in it for him. But I built him a 410 cubic inch small block Chevy stroker and put in it. It was putting out probably about 650-ish. It was stout. And the 700 R4 behind it. 411s in the rear end, and it sat on 27-inch tire. But I had a talk with this guy, before I started building the project for him. What do you want out of this car? What's your experience with a car like that? Well, I've driven high horsepower stuff before, and blah blah blah. When I got done with that truck and I took him, he pissed himself. He was white knuckled on the door frame on the passenger side, and he pissed a little. Are you ready? Here you go.
There you go.
So what you paid for. I just built him what he asked for.
Especially
he was a cool guy though, and he learned. He never got stupid with the truck. I think my doing that to him was actually a good thing. It made him respect what he had. Right? Yeah, it sure is.
400 is.
400.
The guys talking like, "Oh, I got 1,200 horsepower. Look at this."
Look at that
with
dang
about
bat.
350 there, buddy.
Remember that dingbat with that Mercury that ended up crashing it?
Oh yeah. The guy that threw it in park. What the hell's park gonna do?
It ain't gonna do shit when you're moving.
Now you got to fix park gear too.
Turn it off. Turn the key. it will stop running. It'll at least stop making power.
And start downshifting. Downshift like a son of a gun. Let that compression, it's got a lot of compression. She's going to slow you down.
Right. Well, and at that point, even if you blew the damn engine up, who cares? You ain't going to hurt yourself or somebody else. It's just an engine. Yeah, it sucks. It's going to be expensive, but I'll bet you it would have been less expensive.
Yeah, now it's a whole car.
Well, not just the whole car, the lawsuits that came with it, I'm sure. You know, they never publicized any of that, but you know damn well. He drove that sucker into the back of my family. You bet your ass I'd sue him for everything. I'd own that car.
That was all on video.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, when the brakes ain't working, isn't that a pretty good clue to stop throttling on the thing? Yeah,
And they kept talking about how much horsepower it had, but what they leave out is that thing's got a lot of torque. Them brakes ain't going to hold it for very long.
Right.
And they didn't.
Well, I think the way that, as the story went, I think the throttle was partially stuck open and he burnt the brakes off of it, was what had happened.
Yeah, that's what happened. He was trying to hold it back with the
shut
brake.
this damn thing off.
When you start pushing a car to its limits like that, your margin for error shrinks up pretty good.
It shrinks a lot. You know, people don't realize, you know, in normal day-to-day driving, stuff that you have, you know, a second or even a half a second of reaction time to deal with, and you do, no problem. It's just second nature when you're driving on the interstate or whatever. When you're doing 100, 120, 130, 145, you know, that becomes milliseconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Is that a cat? You got a cat there with you?
Yeah. That's Edelbrock.
Cute little sucker.
We call him Eddie for short.
That's a good name for a cat.
I was going to name him Holly, but the wife said, absolutely not.
Well, it sounds too much like a girl's name.
And we used to know a Holly, so she said, nope.
Oh. Take it you didn't like this person.
Well, I did.
Oh. I get it now. 600 horsepower ain't crap when you compare it to 80 miles an hour. Stock suspension. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you got to think too, you know, back in the 50s, 40s, and even the 60s, cars were not 80 miles an hour. That just wasn't the thing. 50
well, it wasn't unheard of. It was.
Yeah, it wasn't unheard of, but you know, a daily driver, you know, 50 was fast. They weren't meant to go that fast.
Well, we didn't have freeways.
Right.
And we lived in a 55-mile-an-hour, 2-lane blacktop stop and go.
Yeah,
Whoa.
there was no reason for it.
Now, 80, that's the speed limit we got out here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's places here that's 85. 75 is about the normal on the interstates around here, but some of them are 85.
You take a car that, was designed to run in a stop and go 55 mile an hour world. Yeah, things get a little fun.
Yeah. That's why, like you were saying about putting the Pontiac on the S10 chassis, it makes that Pontiac more enjoyable in today's driving environment. Because, like Frank said, 80 miles an hour in a stock 53 GMC, yeah, you're white knuckling that son of a
Yeah.
bitch. You're waiting for something to fall off of it. Hopefully not a wheel.
I mean, a 53 GMC, I mean, those things were lucky to see 45.
Right.
50 mile an hour, you were swapping cylinders with them pistons. It was wrapping so hard.
Yep.
My old 53 Chevy out there, it's got the auxiliary, which is kind of an overdrive in it.
Right.
But 55, that's all that 235 will do.
Yeah.
She's
So
wrapped
you got
solid.
the auxiliary trans or a 2-speed rear end?
2-speed rear end, too.
Yeah.
And that's high gear, high gear, high gear.
Yeah. And it's still
pedal to the
zinging.
floor. 55, and she just, whoa, it sounds like she's going to come apart.
Right. Well, it's because it's geared so deep.
Yeah.
It's meant to pull.
Yeah. It's a 3-ton, and it's got a 235 straight 6.
Yeah, it'll pull. It won't go fast, but it'll pull. Damn thing's probably got 6-something gear ratio in it.
Oh, I probably more. It's an old grain truck.
Oh, yeah. Who did that? There was a old grain truck revival. Oh, it was Dudes with Wrenches did a long form on a revival of it was a grain truck.
Oh, really?
I think it was, he thought it was, in the video, they thought it was an FE, a 360 or a 390, but I think it was probably an FT. Remember those? They look, from the outside looking in, they look just like an FE, but they were the medium duty version. They had the bigger oil pump shaft in them. And if you want to build a stout FE, you get one of them FT blocks because the bores are like concrete.
They came
They've
in
got a
like
wall in them.
352,
361 and the 361
361.
and the 391.
Yeah, they have been odd sizes.
They
total torque motors.
Yeah, the quickest way to tell an FT block externally is, where a regular FE says 352 in front of the number 5 cylinder on the front of the block. The FTs will have the number 105, but it's mirrored, and it's backwards. It's literally mirrored the number 105, but it's in the same place as where the 352 casting is on a normal FE block. If you ever find one of them, scoop it up. They're hard to come by. I was actually looking for one for a while.
I'm sure there's a few out here, but
when I was having this one sonic tested, because it's already this 428 is 30 out.
What do you do with the block on those?
What's that? The FTs?
Yeah.
Put FE guts in them. You can either use an FT distributor shaft, or they make a bushing that bushes it down to where a regular FE distributor will fit.
All right.
That's the only real difference in them. They're way more robust, so obviously they're heavier.
Yeah, they're
like
bigger.
FE needs to be heavier, but there's a lot more meat in them. But past that, the only thing you really got to do to make them work is put the bigger oil pump drive in it. And that's nice too. And if you're going for high performance, because you step up to a 5/16 oil pump drive instead of a 1/4 inch. This one, I put the ARP shaft in when I built it. It's a big old, it's about 7/16 in diameter, but of course it necks down. You talking about the FTs, Mater? Any late, any early
60s up to about 68,
into the late
69.
No, even into the late 70s. There was 361s were still around in like the F700 stuff.
Yeah, but it was like you said, it was like in the F500, 600,
500,
700.
600, 700 grain trucks, the medium duty stuff.
And usually they're painted yellow.
Yeah.
That was their industrial blocks, truck blocks.
How much trouble would it be to put my 383 on a small block K-Mumber? No trouble at all. They make swap brackets for that. They're about $200. Might not even be that much anymore. I haven't bought a set in several years, but yeah, look up Schumacher, Steven, and they'll have engine swap mounts and it'll bolt right in. Yeah, the days of chasing down different K members for big block swaps are over.
I think Classic Industries even got them in there.
Yep.
Those guys there.
Yeah, all it really does is relocates the motor mount a little bit.
Yeah.
I know a couple of guys that crush cars.
Company there, you can pretty much buy them a Mopar, every little nut and bolt, every little piece and part. Almost.
Yeah, if you came up on an FT block, that would be, you could pretty close to do the same stuff you could do with something like a Dove block or a Robert Pond block.
I've always kind of thought of them as like the 60s Mells.
Yeah.
Like the Lincolns and
Yep.
Some of the Mercuries.
Well, there's more meat in the mains. There's more meat in the mains and there's more meat in the bores. Like I said, they run the bigger oil pump, but you don't have to. You can bush it. And there is an off-the-shelf bushing available for necking it down. But I'd run the bigger shaft. As we all know, that's always, and I don't care if you're talking big block, small block, Cleveland, Windsor, FE, that's always been Ford's Achilles heel.
Yep.
Especially when somebody goes and sticks a damn high volume pump in an engine with tight clearances. Twist that shaft right off.
What happened? Oh, it made a pop and now nothing. Yeah,
pretty much made her like anything. It's whatever somebody's willing to pay for it. But
I put this high volume pump in it, and then I got me Mesa GTX 2050.
Paid for like $500. The FT blocks. I mean, they're not stupid valuable, but if a guy knows what it is and is trying to do a build, it could be valuable to him.
That's why on all the Fords I've ever done, you leave the oil alone. The oil pump. I never do the high volume, none of that. I want standard volume. Just leave it alone. It's a belly full of problems.
We'll do a quick rundown on what I did with this block. You watched the video. You saw how I opened up the oiling ports, actually in the engine. I opened it up.
So if you go that extreme,
Right. That's no big deal, and that helps everything. I am running about 2,500 of clearance in the main and rod bearings. about 2 thousandths clearance on the cam bearings. The top end is plugged and oils through the push rods, through the roller lifters. It's got 10W40 non-synthetic oil in it because I want the rings to seat. I'll move to synthetic after the rings are seated. But 10W40 non-synthetic oil. Don't want to go any heavier than that because you don't want to hurt the roller lifters.
Exactly.
So it's a relatively lightweight oil. When I lit this thing off tonight, it jumped to attention at 60 pounds oil pressure at 1,000 RPM. By the time we were done fooling with it, it had gone through one heat cycle and it kicked on the electric fan and it dropped it down to about 180 degrees and it sat there, it idled at 1,000 RPM at about 45 pounds oil pressure.
I was going to say 45. Good.
Yep.
Perfect.
Now, if I had a and it's a standard volume melting oil pump in it.
There you go.
That's where I was going with this whole conversation. I have clearance that I have sitting back there behind it. There is the high volume pump that I planned on putting in the engine, but the machinist that I had do the crank screwed me and didn't give me the clearance that I wanted. I wanted 3 thousandths on the mains and 2 3/4 thousandths on the rods. And he didn't grind it the way I told him to, and I had to polish it and polish bearings, and I spent a lot of time to get the 2.5 thou that I ended up with. And that was where I made the decision that I was not going to use the high volume pump.
Smart man right there.
Right. Well, I've built a few engines in my day, high performance, low performance, and everything in between, and especially, even though I put the $100 ARP drive shaft in it, it's still only a 1/4 inch hex on the distributor end and on the driven end. And I just told you what it was holding for oil pressure.
Yeah, that's plenty good.
For the use that car is going to see, that is perfect.
Exactly.
A high volume pump would have, 1, been a power robber. 2, would have been a worry point for the life of the engine.
Yep.
Because it's not clearanced for such a pump. And 3, just simply unnecessary. And 4, for $60, whatever I paid for the pump, the next FE I build, if it happens to require a high volume pump, well, guess what? I have one. Because what? I waited 3.5 months to get that damn thing.
You had the perfect point in there, though. You can't just buy a high volume pump and throw it on there and just bolt it on and go. No, there is so much more you got to do to it to make that work. And that's the shortcoming that everybody does. They just, throw that high volume pump on there. And it's snapping the
everybody
distributor.
says, you need a high volume pump. You need this much lift in your camshaft. You need this much duration in your camshaft. You need that much compression because it's going to be badass and everything. No, you don't.
It's a highway.
It depends on what you're going to do with it. And that's why I chose the camshaft that I did. It's kind of one of them. Some people mock them. Its bark is worse than its bite. It's got a tight overlap. It charges the cylinder and it chops. And it does make decent power, but it barks worse than it bites. It's perfect for that car.
I mean, it's got a 700 R4 in it.
What's that?
It's got a 700 R4 in it, right?
What?
Oh no, you're just talking about another one. That's C6.
Oh no, I'm talking about the Rat. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a C6.
Yeah. I was okay.
Yeah, you were thinking of the Black Betty truck that I built years back. That I was talking about. That was a cool truck too.
But it's for asphalt. It's for driving around town, having fun, going to cruise nights, going to cruising coffee.
Exactly.
If you want to lay into it as you're leaving, you're going to impress some people. That's where it's at. That's where it's fun.
And it's going to do all of that and more.
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you that combination makes more power by a lot than a factory Cobra jet did. But it's not so stupid that it's doesn't have any manners on the street. There's nothing worse than 2 foot in the brake pedal at the stoplight trying to keep the damn thing back, and it'll be enjoyable to drive.
An automatic with a heavy cam and a high stall, you don't want to drive them.
No. Well, I'm already concerned about the high stall. He chose the converter that's in it. Not that it's going to hurt the engine at all, but, if he's doing cruise nights and this and that and the other thing, he needs to be aware that he's building heat in the trans.
Yeah.
The high stall is great. It's going to make, especially the way you heard that engine snap, pop, pop. It's responsive. And, it will snap to life, and it will, when that converter flashes, it will go, and it will get out of hand if you're not careful with it. But
you might think about putting an external on it.
Cooler?
Yeah, run them both.
Well, it ain't got a cooler in the radiator. It's just got one of them little 2 double 1-inch core aluminum radiators in it. Yeah, the
Not the automatic one?
No, it doesn't have the one for the automatic, and he's got a cooler up underneath the body.
Oh,
there's several things about this car that still need attention.
Yeah.
The engine was the big
piece
of
the puzzle.
The engine was the big piece of the puzzle, but there is still a lot about this car that needs attention.
With that
like today,
in there?
Preparing for this live tonight, I was thrashing all day. I stopped last night. I got to the point where I put the alternator on it, water pump pulley on it. Of course, the engine was in, the ignition system was in. I had it timed where I wanted it, where I knew it should fire and all that good stuff. And because I changed the crank pulley, I put a different balancer on it that came with a crank pulley. The alternator belt that was there was a little bit too long. Well, it was 8 o'clock last night or something like that. I was hungry. I hadn't eaten. I said, this is a good stopping point. I'd already planned a live for tonight. All I got to do is run to O'Reilly's, get a belt, throw on my throttle return spring brackets, throw the radiator in it, and hoses, and fill it up with water. Oh, yeah, and put gas in it.
It's kind of important.
This afternoon, and I'm glad I did it early this morning. It's about 11 o'clock this morning or noon, something like that. I climb up on the back of it and pop open the fuel cell, and there was some shit in there, so I stuffed the shop vac in there and vacuumed the shit out and to make, they don't want to put it through the system.
Yeah, especially for startup.
Yeah, I'm doing first startup live tonight. So and the other day I went to the gas station. I bought 12 gallons of premium gas for $80 or whatever the hell it was. $60 for 12 gallons or $5 a freaking gallon. But I get up there with a 5-gallon can, stick a funnel in the fuel cell, and start dumping gas in the thing. And next thing you know, it sounds like a cow pissing on a flat rock. Have you ever seen a steel braided line rot from the inside
out? Yeah.
I was pissed. Yeah. I was pissed. So I grab the cleanest drain pan I have and I throw it under the car and I go get a little electric fuel pump and hike a battery over there and start pumping the gas back into the frickin' can. And of course the shop stinks like gas all day after that, but get a fan trying to air it out. And I lost about a gallon by the time I got that can filled back up, it was about that low. 5-gallon gas can. Shit.
Yeah, I gave up on steel braid. I use a little of it, where I have to, but I hardline all the way.
Yeah. Well, that's.
And I buy the straight sticks too.
Yep.
Not the coil.
Yeah, not that coiled crap.
Brake line. That's what I use is 3/8 brake line.
3/8 brake line.
And I get into there with the little, okay.
Right on. Thanks, Robert. See you later. But yeah, that's what I'm going to end up doing with this. I'm going to tell him we need to get rid of that shit and just put some regular hard line in it. You got to remember.
I can't say for sure, but ethanol is just nasty on it.
Oh, that's absolutely what I blame. I'll not drive candy can on the street much. I put a 481 in it. A can is too big for that. Yeah, but it's fun once in a while.
Going back to manual on it.
I like manual steering, actually. I'm still kicking myself in the ass that
once it's rolling, it's pretty easy.
Last time I was at the wrecking yard, and I got
manual is adjust your caster.
Yeah.
Roll your caster up a little, not much, but roll your caster up a little.
Yep, and it softens it up some. Mm-hmm. Last time I was at the wrecking yard, when I got my half-ton front end pieces for the Dodge truck, the truck I got it off of had a manual gearbox on it, but I need the column and the box and all that good stuff, because the couplers are different. And I was racing the clock. They were closing. They were kicking me out. I'm like, shit, I got to get this stuff off. And the weather went to crap, and I didn't make it back to get it. That kind of bummed me out. I would have really liked to have put manual steering on the truck. There's nothing wrong with the power steering. It's just something else to deal with. That truck I do intend to drive. I do, the engine's nasty. The engine's a big ass cam, lots of compression. It's the 451 here, but I do intend to drive that truck. It's going to be a driver. I've had it since I was a sophomore in high school. It's time to put it back together.
I think the hardest thing to do with them is parking them in these little parking spots they got now.
Oh shoot.
You're working the throttle and then the manual and you're
yeah.
That's the hardest part. Stoplights and stuff like that. Yeah, that's just annoying, and you kind of get used to that. But trying to park them, that big old Coronet there in a compact parking spot at Walmart, that's going to be a little fun.
Right. Well, when I go to Walmart with something like that, I usually park it way off.
In the back.
Yeah, where some a-hole hit it. What pisses me off is every time without fail, like when I was working on that guy's that swept line, that 71 swept line that I was working on, and I took it for that test drive. I made a stop. It was actually a Walmart parking lot. I parked it way out in the middle of nowhere, nothing around. And when I came back out of that store 4 or 5 minutes later, there was somebody parked on each side of that truck.
Yep.
Why? It's like they know what you're doing and why you did it. And just... John, my van doesn't park at docks. I want to convert it to Prius electric power steering.
I've seen those kits done. Good friend of mine, he did the Saturn conversion on his 57 Ford Fairlane.
Do they work pretty good?
It works really good, but that box is huge, and it fits right under the dash. So when you're sitting in the car and you look down, you can't see the pedals. All you see is that big electric motor box that hangs
right.
right there. So I don't know. I'm not sold on that. Works wonderful though.
It's probably pretty heavy too if it's big
Yeah.
like that.
The kit ones that you can buy are a lot smaller.
Are they? Well, that's cool.
I don't know about the Prius one, but I know the Saturn one. It's be prepared. It's a huge box.
Well, maybe I don't know nothing about it. Maybe that's the upside to the Prius one. Maybe it's smaller. Maybe it's a little more user friendly.
I just stick a Saginaw on it and
call it a day.
I just weld up some brackets to hold it up on there. And,
yeah, pretty much.
And when you're at it, then you can add a hydro brake too.
Yeah.
Oh, and those are sweet.
Well, I've got to do something with mine because these Victor style heads that are on this 451 was a 440. It's an RB. Are taller than a regular big block head, and with this regular RB 440 in it, I got about that much clearance between the valve cover and the brake booster.
Yeah.
So, and this engine ain't going to make much vacuum with that cam in it anyway. So I've thought about either going full manual brakes, which I'd have to build an adapter for,
just go hydro.
Go hydro boost, which I'd have to build an adapter for, which is no big deal. Take a chunk of aluminum in a mill.
Because you got power steering on it already, right?
Yes.
Yeah, just run hydro on it.
See,
you'll find you a 70s through 80s square body 3/4 or 1 ton truck out there. Perfect.
Right. See, Tim, 318 will run. He's got the bracket that I need, but a buddy of his custom made it.
The step up?
Well, yeah, for converting to manual brakes. But yeah, there's actually a kit out there for doing a hydro boost on one of these square body Dodges, but it's money.
Yeah, big time.
It's big money.
The last one I looked at was $1,200.
Oof. Yeah, I'll go junkyard scouting and building brackets.
Exactly. That's what was good about the monster trucks. They always run over a motorhome out there. And every one of them motorhomes has got a hydro boost in it.
Right.
Well, it didn't when it went out in the field. When it went out in the arena, it was kind of missing that. I stockpiled them things.
The early Cummins trucks that were still the square body styles, they had a vacuum pump on them for vacuum brakes. They weren't hydro boost, so that's not a donor either.
That's like that 53 Chevy I got. It's actually got power brakes on it.
Does it?
It's got a great big vacuum booster that goes all the way to in the back.
At least your cat's not doing what Don's does.
He tries.
All right, Frank, thanks for stopping. See you in the next one.
Sometime I got to get video of him because I'll be underneath the car working along, working underneath there, and he'll come up and lay right next to me, and he'll act like he's working.
Watching Travis work, Travis Mopar Garage. He's got all them cats always hanging around out there. They're his helpers. When he's out there working on red. There's always a dozen of them cats out there. It's funny. I don't know how he just knows they're there. I don't know how he doesn't trip over them.
Yeah, we've got 2. That's good enough.
Right. Yeah, we just got 2 dogs. Big one and a little one.
Our dog passed away the day after we got back from the No Name.
Oh, that sucks.
She was on all kinds of medication. We knew she was
just old.
She was getting there.
How old was she?
We're not quite sure. She was probably about 10, 12, around there.
Getting up there. Well, I know I'm in Arizona, but it's getting freaking chilly out here, so I think I'm gonna wind it down.
Gonna button her up for tonight. All right.
Yeah, we had these stinking weird thunderstorms this week. Don't usually see that this time of year.
Your connection and everything looks really good. All the work you put in to be able to do this out in your shop looks really good.
How'd the car look when it was up and when it had its own screen? How did it look?
Oh, good. I thought it was somebody else in here. I kept waiting.
No, it was.
When's that guy going to show up?
No, I signed into the stream. Well, what I was going to do is I've got a 20-foot USB extension cable, and I was going to run the webcam over there by the car. And I did that, and it was real glitchy. It just didn't like being on that long cable
extension. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's, the webcam, it gets its power and everything over through the cable. Whatever, it didn't work. Oh shit! So I set up an access point, and it's hardwired out here. It's just sitting on the bench right there for now. Good thing I know how to do that stuff. I was able to whip it up pretty quick, and signed into the stream through a phone. And set it up over there in front of the car and just muted the sound for that person.
Yeah, it worked good though. Looked really good.
Yeah, so that was kind of a last minute thing, to have, 2 entries in the stream, but I had to figure something out. I figured it out pretty quick. But yeah, it worked.
I think I'm going to try.
Yeah, that's good to hear that it's.
Night.
What's that?
I think I'm going to try mine tomorrow night.
Did you get your hardline run?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Instead of my little itty bitty office here.
Well, I kind of got my office set up. I've got all my automotive stuff in there, and it's set up. It works good, and it's comfortable, and the chair doesn't squeak like this one does. But I kind of like doing stuff out in the shop. When I want to do more of this work on the cars, live kind of stuff. Besides, usually that's when I'm watching you guys' videos. I'm out here working. I've got a 55. It's an old. I replaced my 55-inch TV in the house because it's got 3 lines that go through the screen. They're real little. You almost don't even notice them. But I bought a new TV and put in the house. Well, this one became the monitor out here. So I got a 55-inch TV mounted on the wall above my 72-inch Matco toolbox. And a computer on a shelf up above that and stuff. But, so that's what... that's my audio video system out here, and I've got a stereo and a couple of big old power speakers in the corners. But so I'll be out here working, and if I ain't listening to the music on the stereo system, I'll watch YouTube, and I can see it from anywhere.
That's why I do it too.
What's that?
That's why I do it too.
Yeah, I just got a big screen. And
I've built up a lot of you guys' watch hours if I forget and it's still on.
I do it
Go
on
out in the
purpose.
shop and be working along and I'll come back and, oh, I guess I watched a whole bunch of his, whatever YouTube chose.
Hey, we got Raging Cajun in the house. Right on.
Seen you the other night.
Yeah. I have unlimited bandwidth. There's no data caps on my internet service, and I got a
Me too.
gigabit. Gigabit comes in, and I can upload at 50, but yeah, it does what I need it to do. But I do that, what you're talking about, on purpose.
Yeah.
Especially if I know one of you guys needs watch hours, I'll make a playlist, like the watch laters, and put it on autoplay, and I'll let that some bitch run overnight.
Yeah, and all of you that's got
Get off my back, and it helps my
stuff loaded
friend,
up in playlists, that really helps us because I can go in and I can load up a whole bunch of yous and just let them go. And it builds your watch hours like no tomorrow.
And I can tell the ones I really want to watch by the titles, and I actually watch them later.
Then I come in with my greasy fingers and, oh, okay, yeah, like, okay, yeah, okay.
Yep.
Oh, hit the like button on that one. Okay, and then I go back out there. And
usually what I'll do, and I'll open them up and put them on the watch later, and I like them right then when I do that, so I don't forget.
Don't miss them, yeah.
Yeah. Then I'll go back and watch them actually watch them later and comment on them. But yeah, it helps. These lives, they help. I know last week when I did that live last week, I ended up with the heck was it? 68 watch hours or something like that from the live.
Yeah, these lives, they really help boost your watch hours. If you're looking for watch hours, this is how you do it.
Well, that's where I'm going to end up. I'm going to end up at my 1,000 subs, but I ain't going to have the watch hours if I don't do something to get them.
And if you guys are looking into doing this, get a hold of try to do it with a smaller channel that's already established, like Buck does it, or or me, or Brian Dust Devil. Get a hold of them, make friends with them, and say, hey, can I come on after you? And if they've got over 1,000 subscribers, they can redirect to you.
Right.
And that really helps. So then when you come on your live, they just redirect everybody in the chat, and everybody in the audience just goes right over to you. And that'll really help get you going. And, jump in and have fun with them. These lives are a lot of fun.
It is. It is a lot of fun. Well, and I did it. JB hosted the first one that Friday night that I was helping him with his transmission.
Uh-huh.
That was a blast. And then we had a good turnout, so I did the live last week, and that was a great turnout. And I figured, well, if I'm going to do it, I might as well keep some kind of rhythm to it. So I did it. I had it scheduled for the same time tonight. I mean, I actually had this car ready. I could have lit the thing off last night, but I waited. I wanted to do it on the live, and I didn't want to step on a different live because I stepped, like Power Hour or Irish, or everybody's watching them. The live, if I did one, would have been a dud.
Don't get too caught up in that though, because a lot of people switch back and forth.
Right.
Because if you do, you'll never do it. So.
Well, and that's why, like I said, I'm trying to stay consistent. That's why I did it again tonight at 7. I'm going to stick to this Friday night at 7 after John Wilburn kind of thing.
Perfect.
And so far it's kind of working. Second one in, but Mater's got the watch hours, but not the subs. But see, Mater, you do lives all the time. That's where you got your watch hours. And that's not only is it fun, I like the lives. I like participating in them as well as doing them. I mean, I've definitely got the hardware to do them, so might as well do them. And gain something from it.
And you can do whatever on them.
Yeah,
You can just
my
do a
channel. Do
hangout
what I want.
call.
What's
You
that?
you can actually work on stuff and, let people watch you work. You can do all kinds of stuff with these lives.
Yeah. Leighton does that. He'll do a live. He'll just turn the camera on and go to welding or, doing just hanging out, doing nothing. It's just there doing it. And we watch it. It works. I was doing Wednesday night after Dallas, and I got who's on after Dallas on Wednesdays.
I'd keep going with it, ASO. As long as you stay consistent, just go for it.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to jump around and do a random
bounce back and forth.
I want to stick to a schedule, and people know that I'm going to be on, and after a while, it'll stick. Oh, Tony's on Friday night.
That's the key to it, though, is being consistent with it.
Oh, Junkyard D. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What you guys doing?
Being consistent.
Oh, wait a minute here.
Oh, Junkyard D. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What you guys doing? I got you on the TV. Oh, wait a minute here.
Yeah, I just mute it when I got a second browser going. I just mute that other browser.
There you go.
Yeah, it sounds like you got her there.
When I got a second browser going, I mute that other browser.
Oh, there's Matt. Yeah, it sounds like you got her there.
When I got a second browser going.
There's Matt. Yeah, it sounds like you got her there. Yeah, it's kind of different because StreamYard is actually like 6-7 seconds behind
It is.
YouTube. And StreamYard is actually like 6.
I'll tell you what I was having trouble with. I had the rat set up on the phone, and the damn phone, no matter what I did, I couldn't get the sound to quit coming out of the earpiece speaker on the phone. And even when I was sitting over here, I could hear it the whole time, but it wasn't bothering the screen. But at first it was. It was kind of a pain. I don't know why it did that. Just because it was a phone, I guess. I don't usually do them off the phone.
That's what I'm on. So you guys have a webcam, is that right?
Yeah, I do.
Laptop out in the garage then?
I've got a full-on rig out in the garage.
You're a techie guy, huh?
I am.
Yeah, that's cool. So am I, kind of.
I built my own stuff. I'm running 3rd gen i7 stuff. So it's top of the line from 13 years ago.
Right.
But it's top of the line. And I edit 4K with it, no problem. And it didn't cost me 10 grand.
Right.
Now I've got like $300 in both of my computers. And I edit 4K 60 frame per second video with them.
Right. That's why I'm trying to figure out what the best scenario is for equipment here. I've got a 42-inch TV above the bench here, and like you were saying earlier, that's what I do is sit and tinker in the garage and watch other YouTube channels and whatever it be. But jumping on a live, I'm on my phone, and I can't see hardly anything on the phone, and the audio isn't very well. So
it's hard on the phone going live. I've tried it once.
So I may have to get a.
You look good, so you've obviously got decent Wi-Fi out there.
Well, thank you. I know I look good.
I just wiped the grease off.
But so you obviously got adequate Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I updated that. I had some troubles a while back, and I got little hotspots out here, little pucks, that extend the network.
You got a mesh system.
Like a security camera out of my garage over the driveway. So that's why I did that, because that would always cut in and out. And ever since I did that, it helped tremendously. So now I got pretty good signal out here. So
I've always been a techie guy, and being a techie guy makes me very picky about the quality of my stuff.
Yeah.
So I fought with the Wi-Fi, and I got a Wi-Fi 6 mesh network and everything. But the trouble is I'm
It's
still
Wi-Fi.
150 yards away from my main router. And I finally gave up, and I just ran Cat 6 out here, and I got a hard line in the garage now, and it'll handle 10 gigabit. So I can do whatever the heck I want.
That's what I do. I plug in hardline for everything now. I don't Wi-Fi anything.
But that's why I was asking you earlier. I did put the hotspot out here in the garage, hardwired to my hardwire. So I got a decent router broadcasting a signal right next to me. And, and it did do all right for doing the car, with the phone. But I did notice it still wasn't as crisp and clear.
As
But
your
he's
main.
on a phone, and he's as crisp and clear as I am. And you?
Me?
Yeah, you. Yeah, you're the only one on the phone, and I can't tell you're on the phone.
Okay. Well, that's good.
What kind of phone is it?
An iPhone 10, I think.
Okay, so reasonably modern phone, but
I didn't have to update it last year. Last year I had an older one, and every time I'd go out to capture some video or something, like at the racetrack, kind of like what who was it? Somebody else is having that same issue. As soon as the decibel level would get up, it would cut out and it would just go to white noise.
Yeah.
yeah, he blew out the mics.
Yeah.
I've got last year's Samsung phones. I've got an S22 and an S22 Ultra. I just got my wife an S23 Ultra, and they're the same way. They got good mics in them, and they don't blow out. My son has a iPhone 13 Pro, and he likes it. It does it's got good quality to it as well. So, but what I'm on now is, here's one of them. I'll show it to the camera here. There's one of enough light here for you to see the thing. Focus.
Yeah, it looks a lot like mine.
It's one of my transmitters.
Oh,
That's mine.
Yeah.
Same
This
thing.
is
The mic here.
It came with the receiver. Yeah. This is a receiver and two transmitters. And that's what I did tonight. I had one transmitter. Well, one was on me, but I'd set it down on the driver's side of the car.
thanks.
And the other one.
This is my mic, extended mic.
Yep.
I tried one of them. I got one of them just like that long lavalier. I had my camera. I had this back when I was using my phone. Had my phone set up on the tripod. Had it plugged into the phone. Was walking around that 58, and that lavalier cord grabbed a hold of the frame rail and jerked it off of the tripod. It hit the floor and broke that brand new screen.
These have got the mic built in. You can use them with or without the dead cat.
Yeah, mine too.
Or you can plug in the lavalier mic to it.
Yeah.
The whole set, I think I paid like $230 for. It's right. It's up there with Rode as far as quality. Yeah. It's the Kamika Boom XD Pro. It was expensive.
Syncos. These were $35.
Oh, you shut up, you.
Yeah.
I gotta try that kind.
And it came with
these were expensive.
2 mics and one receiver, so you can do interviews. You can.
Yeah.
It's got 2 mics.
Right. That's how mine is. It's got the 2.
But if you use the 2 mics, one is right and one is left. It doesn't mix.
These, I can set them up 3 ways. They have a stereo, mono, or they also have a safety. Which
this don't got that.
These they will actually record in themselves. Like my GoPro is so notorious for not connecting or not syncing or not this or I hate that stupid. But and it's a pain in the ass when you go to edit the video because you got to inject this, the audio into it. But hey, at least I got the audio to inject into it.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than making a video that you spent 30 minutes doing and then you go to find out no freaking sound. No, I'm not going to tear the engine all the way back apart and do it over.
Let's pop this open for the first time in 50 years again.
Yeah, right. But yeah, there's the only thing I'm sorry about these is like, what you've got, that there is something less expensive.
You hear it. These, you get what you pay for. They work, but they are the cheaper ones.
I mean, I don't know what you all are listening on tonight, but how did that car sound?
Not bad.
I mean, was it realistic? Was it not washed out? Was it quality?
I'll check it again on the rewatch because I'm listening to it on these cheapo.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'll ultimately do is I'll go in the house where I've got the nice audio system on the other computer, and I'll go back and I'll listen to them later. But when I first bought these, when I still had time to return them because they were $200 and some odd dollars, first thing I did was set them up behind my Harley and just put that son of a bitch on a red line. And then I went back and I listened to it through a quality audio system.
See if it blow it out.
Yeah, and it did not blow it out. And it sounded like my Harley when I'm on my Harley. Okay, I'll keep them. And I set the mics up 3-4 feet behind the bike, and it's a built 96 cubic inch V twin with a Vance and Hines 2-in-1 on it. It's not quiet.
These ones you'll blow out under high like that.
Will they blow out?
But what I like about it though is, you see in that last video, that was extreme in that last video I did. I got trains, I got semi trucks, I got everything going around me. And this with the lavalier cuts out 90% of that.
Right. And these do a really good job of that too.
So I don't have to go back in and
what I did when
edit
I bought
it, adjust it.
Like Junkyard D was saying, the whole washout, that will make me turn a video off. When you're making a video and it just sounds like crap or you can't hear it. I came to hear this thing and and my videos will not do that. And if they do, well, I ain't gonna publish it. I'm gonna go get a piece of equipment that won't make that happen.
Every big YouTuber will tell you audio is king. Video quality, you can fudge on that a little bit. But audio is king. If people can't hear you, they won't watch you.
Okay, that's good to know.
And the audio side of it's actually the cheaper side of it.
Yeah.
You get into those high dollar 4K cameras and built-in gimbals and all that stuff. Yeah, that gets expensive.
Well, you know what pisses me off is the amount of money I've got invested in that stupid GoPro.
Yeah.
There's a really nice, my next camera, the one that I want to get, it's a Sony ZV. I think it's a ZV-1, I think is what it's called. It's $990. And it's 50 times the camera that GoPro will ever be. And I paid $500 for the damn GoPro. And I probably have $500 worth of accessories for the stupid thing. I should have just bought the other one to start with.
There's always eBay. Throw it up on
right. Yeah, the GoPro does have its place, though.
It does.
The video quality is great.
action shots. They're nice and small. You can mount them in
Yeah.
tight places.
Yeah. My biggest gripe about the GoPro is the damn thing likes to overheat.
Overheat, or if it's too cold. When it's 20 below out there, they don't work.
Yeah, it gets cold here, but it don't get that cold. I think the coldest it got this winter was like 10 above. But that's still
my camcorder doesn't either, but my camcorder I can plug into the wall and at least run it off the tripod, so I'm still actually able to use it.
Where are you at, Junkyard D?
I'm almost to the Canadian border. I'm up in North Dakota.
Okay.
North Dakota. The
I knew you were up there
wind.
somewhere by the accent.
Yeah, sure. Everybody says.
Yeah, so you know what cold is.
Oh, yes.
I know what cold is too. At one time in my life, I spent 5 years in La Crosse, Wisconsin. I know about that cold.
Okay, yeah.
40 below bullshit.
Oh, I'm about done with it. Trust me. If you know a lot of land down in Arizona, let me know, because I'm about there.
The year that I left Wisconsin was the year that my car battery froze.
Oh yeah.
And my boss gave me a ration of shit because I was late to work. Oh, dude, the car battery was frozen. What the hell do you want me to do? Hitchhike?
That's a big thing here with these new cars, with all the computers and stuff in them. It's got a consistent draw on the batteries. If you don't start them like at least once a week in the wintertime when it drops like that, yep, you're buying another battery. That's why I have one battery in all these cars.
I tell you what, I got to give the battery in this rat rod credit. It's ugly. It's got mold growing on it. It's an Interstate MT65, like for a Ford truck or something, the big one. But when he brought me the car last March, he thought the battery was dead. And I assume he thought the battery was dead because the engine was it would turn over, but it was tight. I put it on the charger, determined that the engine was not going to work and it was going to come out and I was going to build it. And I haven't done crap with it since. Today, I put my bike tender on it. The bike tender told me that battery was at 85%. And you heard it crank the car over.
Yeah.
That impressed me. And it's got to come out and it's got to get cleaned. It's loaded up with mold and corrosion and crap, but it's got a good solid charge in it.
It's been in there since Bobby Labonte was driving for him.
Probably.
I don't even want to ask about the 2-degree weather in July in Alabama. How does that work?
I'll tell you what's driving me crazy. We're middle of March here in Arizona, and I'm a little chilly out here in the shop without a jacket on.
It's actually the end of May, not March.
May. Did I say March? May.
I know.
I was just talking about March with the car.
He is looking at my clock.
Yeah. Hey, that clock's right twice a day. But yeah, it's not supposed to be cold like this. But we've had some weird weather. It's been thunderstorming all week. And it's not supposed to do that till like mid-July. And it hailed. My wife comes out. It's supposed to hail. No. Yeah. And it did. It wasn't a bunch, but it hailed a little bit.
You like your MSD on that side?
Me?
Yeah.
You're the only one that's got your MSD showing.
I don't know why I put it on that side. It just seemed more convenient because the plug comes out and I go right to the distributor right there. So I don't know. It just seemed more convenient that way. No rhyme or reason to it, I guess.
It looks like it works good there.
It is a driver's side. I don't know the way you're looking at it, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was looking there and making sure it wasn't a mirror image.
Yeah.
That's the way you can trick people when you go out to do burnouts and stuff. You put your camera on mirror, so it looks like you're driving on the other side of the car. They think you're in England.
In England, yeah.
There you go. That's a good idea.
I'm not in Mexico. I'm in Liverpool.
Is mounted on the inside of the firewall, inside the car.
That's a good idea.
I didn't put it there. He did. I didn't think I'd like it there, but I do. It's out of the way. It's protected. It's still accessible. It's just a good place for it. It just works.
Right.
And one less thing to clutter the engine bay.
All right. So that one wasn't supposed to be on there anyways. That's actually, I've stolen so many parts from my 68 to go onto this one because that one's taking long. So yeah, you could name half the parts are not supposed to be on this car. They're supposed to be over there, but might as well use them, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, John, for coming in.
Night,
Don't work too hard.
It does look good, though.
Yeah, it does. It fits there. It looks like it fits there.
Yeah, I'm excited to get her out tomorrow. So I got to set my valve lash yet tonight here. Track opens tomorrow, and I probably won't be running tomorrow. I wanted to get up there, just do a couple laps just for test and tune type thing. And then points racing starts on Sunday. So we'll be up there tomorrow night for Sunday racing. So
good content.
That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, try to pull some of it out of there. So
see, that's when the GoPro comes in handy.
Yeah. Action
on top of
shots
the car,
right
inside the car.
a little sneak peek. It looks pretty rude and crude, but this is what I'm working on underneath the car. I don't know if you can see what it is. So this plate was under my fuel tank, under the spare tire tub. So I was trying to figure out how I can get my GoPro to mount under there. So I got a little plate. I got to weld this together and then put this on. And then you got the GoPro clamp where I can clamp it on there. Hopefully it'll hold still so I can see underneath, show my rear end and stuff and see how
that's cool.
Spot on, man.
That is cool.
Yeah, so I can get under the car footage and stuff. So,
and that's good footage to post too.
Yeah,
explain what you're doing.
Yeah,
explain what the car's doing.
Middle of a video or something, up at the track, so it's not just in car footage or what the same old thing. So just something different. So.
How many times you get to see a Mopar suspension in action?
Right.
Doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Right. Well, be doing what it's supposed to be doing, but we'll see what it's doing.
I'm pushing for you there, man.
Well, that's the point of it. Just kind of see how it's, how the whole rear end is responding and stuff. And I got to
put this that if it does do something that it's not supposed to do, it gives you a fighting chance to figure out why.
Right. And that's why I want to do it too. I've got a buddy that's trying to get his car dialed in. He's up in a top ET class. So
nice.
Together last year, and it hops off the line and jumps, and he's getting it dialed in, but it's not quite there. So I was going to let him throw my GoPro under his car too, and see if we can figure out where it's hitting. If the shocks are extending or if they're absorbing or what the case may be. So.
I've got one of those too, Stephen, and it's worked well for me.
22 magnets. Will that hold under the car? I'm not so worried about the GoPro. I got it warranted, so if it falls apart, I'll send the dang thing in. But I'm worried about parts scattered all over the track and somebody getting pissed off at me for, the next guy down doesn't see it and runs it over or something. But that's why I wanted it kind of hard mounted, so I know it wasn't going to go in.
I like your idea.
Yeah. And it's far enough back where you can see, both tires, the rear end, the shocks, and the whole rear end. So,
Do you only have one, or do you have multiples?
GoPros?
Uh-huh.
I just have one right now. I would like to get in. Or another.
Mounted in front of the front end or the rear end too, and you can see the front and the rear.
I'm sorry?
That way you can see the front and the rear as you launch.
Oh, have one in
front of the rear end, mounted a little ways in front of the rear end, pointed backwards.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That's the magnet mount that I have. It came off Amazon.
Okay.
Can't remember what I paid for it, but you just heard it grab the toolbox.
Yeah. Yeah, I just had the little.
Yeah, almost went on my ass pulling it off.
Flippy guy, but this magnet is not very strong. I wouldn't trust it at all,
Yeah, I've got this one. I've got the suction cup mount. I've got the media mod for it. I got so much shit for this thing. I got this guy here that folds out into a stick. You can adjust it, whatever. Opens up to a tripod on the bottom so you can set it down. That one's actually a GoPro piece. I don't remember what it cost. It was too expensive.
It's got GoPro on it, yeah.
But yeah, it works good. Now, if I could just keep the damn camera from overheating. If you don't do 4K, it doesn't overheat so bad. But I bought the thing, so, it advertised that it could do 5K. I don't care about 5K, but,
For what, a short?
Right. But, most of my long format videos, that's what I do them with. Very seldom do I do one with the phone. And I really should, because the phone takes excellent video. And the phone will recognize I can plug these microphones into the phone via USB and use them.
They've got the USB adapter for it.
Right. Well, see, the transmitter, and matter of fact, that's how it's hooked up to the computer right now. I've got a Yeti Nano mic in the house on my other computer, but I don't have a dedicated mic for out here. But this works. So I just plug it in via USB to the computer. The operating system sees it as a microphone. And
that's what that other mic that I got is a Yeti. I got it on eBay. It was used.
Yeah, I think I paid $80 or $90 for mine new. But that's what I'm usually on when I'm in the house, is it.
But the audio side of it is, even with the upper end stuff, you're only talking, hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
Video? Yeah, you're talking thousands.
Now you can buy a real high-end microphone for like $500-600.
Yeah, that's real high end.
Yeah, it is higher end than what we need. What I need. I'll speak for myself.
My problem with my phone,
he's washed out a little bit, though. I need to go back and watch that, but he did go back and rewatch that, and he said these mics washed out a little bit on the car.
My phone, when it came off the tripod like that and hit, it did something to the jack. so I can't
Oh,
plug
that
an
sucks.
external into it anymore. So when I do a short, I got to be real close to it, or
Right. You
you've probably
can't.
seen it in the
Your
last
mics
couple
won't work on
shorts.
the phone with USB.
Not anymore. When it
Oh.
tumbled off the tripod, it did something to
Oh,
it.
I see. It damaged the USB
Yeah.
port in the phone. Well, how
When
the
I
heck do you
charge it, I gotta play with it.
Oh, dang it.
It's like an old Nintendo now, you know. I got to put a matchstick in it and hold it just right.
Right. Yeah, in the mic's defense, though, he said it washed out a little bit. I probably shouldn't have put it where I put it. It was the one on this side of the car. Now that I'm looking at it, was probably less than 3 feet away from the header. That's asking a lot from any microphone. I'll bet you if it would have been just picking up from the one off the other side that was up on the pole above the car. As a matter of fact, maybe you can see it. I just looked over there. And where is it? There's the car. You see those spots on the pole behind the car?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
See those black spots? That's what the magnet left on that pole. That's where I had the microphone. I stuck on that magnet, stuck up on that pole on the passenger side. Yeah, it's kind of hard, doing these rowdy engines, to get the mic placement just right.
What's hard is when you're driving too, trying to
Yeah.
capture it, because you get the wind noise, the road
You get all-
All right,
noise.
guys. I don't know if you
And
can
it'll
hear me or not.
walk.
I can't get audio from you guys, but I got to call it a night. So we'll see you guys later.
Great having you, man. Great seeing you.
All right, good seeing you. Thanks for stopping in, man. That was a cool surprise.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I
Yeah.
think now I'll close it down.
Yeah, I get
We
real
are
sleepy.
past the 3-hour mark.
Woo! There we go.
I think Steven's the only one left in here.
How many you got left
He
in?
must be bored if he's watching me.
Can you see how many you got left on there?
It says 4.
Oh. I think you had a pretty good turnout tonight, though.
Yeah. Yeah, 4 watching now. It was not as good of a turnout as last week's was. That kind of surprised me.
Yeah, they come and go.
But there was more chomping at the bit. There were some chomping at the bit to hear that car run.
Yeah, I hope you make it a regular thing.
Well, that's what I think I'm going to do. We're going to do the Friday night at 7. Even if it's just sitting here shooting the shit.
That's easy when you don't have a topic. Then you
Right.
just sit back and just let everybody make the topic for you.
Yeah, and that's what makes it fun. To
Just
me,
hang out.
that's actually more fun than trying to script it or trying to plan something, or you know what I mean?
Get more audience involvement, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually talking with the people that's in the chat. Those are cool.
Talking with the people in the chat, answering questions, and just chit-chatting back and forth with them. That's cool. Other channels, you guys getting in and joining in the lives. That's cool. I've always enjoyed getting in everybody's lives, and, hanging out. It's fun. So
One thing to look out for, though, I'll warn you. I don't know if you know about it, but when you do these open ones, when you put your link up there, when you invite people in, make sure you see them. There's been some funny business going on. people stealing people's names, and yeah, then you go over there and you click on them. They'll pop up as just like their logo, like they're having camera problems or something. And then you invite them in like this, and then all of a sudden it's something you never want to see. It's somebody else, that's stolen their name, and what they're doing is they're trying to shut your channel down.
Oh.
And they'll like whip it out.
I'd hunt them down.
Big Block had it happen on his.
Oh no shit.
Cousin Mike had one on his. Just weird people doing weird things.
That will get you, if you ain't paying attention. You pop it up on the screen, boy, that'll get you in trouble.
And I think it was Big Block that it was, ASO.
Yeah.
That's the name, then the logo that person was using. So he thought it was ASO. But when it came on the screen, it wasn't. Yeah, YouTube will cancel your channel for it. So just watch that.
That sucks.
And if it's somebody I don't know, because I let anybody in, but my finger is on that mouse button right there at the remove if anything funny or weird happens.
Right. Yeah, well, I do this. I'm into this for this community, and if you're not part of this community, don't waste my time.
I've yet to have it happen on mine, but I'm just watchful of it.
Yeah, but see, that's chicken shit when they're stealing identity and doing it.
Yeah.
When they're stealing identity and doing it, then then it is part. You do think they're part of this community until they're not, and your Friday night fire up the rat rod just turned into a porn channel.
Yeah.
Ugh. I'd be pissed. Well, it's good having you.
Yeah, good having you too.
Thanks,
good
Steve
being on.
Left for hanging out. I will probably see you tomorrow night.
All right. Yeah, hopefully I'll be out in the shop.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'll definitely check that out and see how it works out for you.
Gonna try to get the old man out there.
Oh, cool.
Have the big B back on again.
Cool.
But until then, we'll catch you later, and everybody get out there and get some metal hot.
Absolutely. Take care.
Good seeing you, Tony.
Too.